In the shadows of the night, one name is whispered in the darkness. Terrified would-be protagonists cower in fear of being the one chicken that might cross the road, but never succeeds. An ever-looming force of danger, a monolith that lurks behind every stop sign and four-way intersection in Tokyo. A god of death just waiting for the one would-be burnout businessman to walk into the street so he can smash him into the pavement and turn him into a taco in another world. This entity, this force, this villain, is Truck-Kun. Now, this mastery of mystery dimensions has only gained popularity over the past, 8 years. Truck-Kun is a being of untold power and a catalyst to many mystical adventures. His victims die cruel deaths only to be revived in another plane of parallel existence. And yet the story always follows the victims, not the driving force behind them. That pun was intended. Are we not forgetting that there's power at play here that is far beyond the magic of some fantasy realm? Here at Bonsai Pop University, we think that the anthropology of anime is one of the most important things to dive into for your mental health. So today, we're going to ask who or what is Truck-Kun? Where did he come from? What dark corner of this planet did he slowly reverse out of? Today we are going to be going back to the very origins of anime to answer these questions just for you, but mostly for me. We are going to find the origins of this isekai enabler. This is the history, nay, the story of Truck-Kun. Let's get into it.
Did you know that some people's balls are trying to kill them? Well, if you didn't, I don't know where you've been, but about 90% of our audience is male, which I don't know if that says more about me or you or anime, but that means that the majority of you have a couple conies hanging down below the belt. But luckily, we have been sponsored by Manscaped to help you out. Not only does Manscaped want your big boys to look good and feel good with their awesome new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Trimmer, but they want you to be healthy too. This month is National Testicular Cancer Month, and Manscaped has partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to help spread cancer prevention amongst men. And odds are you're in the 15 to 35 age range where it shows up the most. So make sure to get your boys checked out when you can and treat them right. And hey, with the cordless waterproof 5.0 lawnmower, you can check them out every day. Take my word for it, guys, this thing is awesome and it knows what it's doing. And I remember we had last time we did Manscaped, we had this one guy who was like,
"Why do I want to look like a child?"
And it's like, bro, there's a difference between, someone actually being able to see your hang down and being completely bald. Trust me, chop down that rainforest a little bit and people will like you better. But with this new iteration on the lawnmower, which was already great to begin with, it makes every day feel like a spa day, specifically for your nuts. And of course, you can use my code BonsaiPop for 20% off, plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Take your junk from Jack Black to the new sexy Zuck with the new Lawnmower 5.0. And don't forget to give them a squeeze and make sure one of them isn't the size of a grapefruit. Help us support ourselves and our editors, help Manscaped prevent testicular cancer. Use the link in the description and the code. Now let's get back to it.
Japan, 1916. As a major war was engulfing the entire world, magic was happening in the little island to the east. Yes, indeed, a love story was taking place between two companies, Tokyo Ishikawajima Shipbuilding and Engineering Limited and the Tokyo Gas and Electric Industrial Company danced the dance of love and had a magic child, the Ishikawajima Motor Company, which today is known as Isuzu Motors. The newborn company quickly found its first friend in a British automobile manufacturer called Wolseley Motors in 1918, gaining exclusive rights in production of sales of Wolseley vehicles in East Asia. Just 3 years later, the first Japanese truck rolled off the assembly lines in Fukugawa. It was called the Wolseley CP, and the miracle known as the first Japanese manufactured truck was born. This is Great-Grandpappy Truck-Kun, a proud and stoic automobile that became essential to Japanese infrastructure following the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923. The earthquake left Japan's transportation infrastructure, which had primarily been trains at that point, in absolute shambles. Truck-Kun's ancestors stepped in to help. However, a foreign competitor also appeared. Good old Ford Motor Company, seeing that American business opportunity, signed a contract with the Tokyo Municipal Electric Bureau for 800 trucks by Ford. Perhaps this was the first sign of danger from the Truck-Kun ancestral line. These were the tendrils of darkness moving from within. Choosing foreign aid over reliable Japanese trucks was a slight to Truck-Kun's ancestors that couldn't be forgiven. Yet what could Isuzu do? Their own manufacturing was halted due to the earthquake. They weren't even able to resume production until 1927. But that was then. What of the Truck-Kun we know today? When was he rolled off the line into service? How did a seemingly innocent delivery truck turn to the path of murder and mayhem? To answer that, we must forge ahead into the far-flung future of World War II. Now, when Japan decided to become butt buddies with Hitler, they really needed to mobilize in order to get into China and do terrible things. And naturally, the Japanese released a merciless infantry of trucks into that country. Truck-Kun, then just a humble delivery truck, was conscripted into military service, forced to transport troops and weapons and prisoners on the bloody battlefields. The sounds of engines roaring, fuel, and burnt rubber. It awoke a primal bloodlust within Truck-Kun's chassis. As he plowed through enemy lines, crushing all in his path, a demon was awakened within Truck-Kun. And as we'll see throughout the rest of the video, his thirst for carnage would only grow stronger. Now, when the war ended, much like many veterans, Truck-Kun, he was cast aside, his purpose unfulfilled, but the taste of death had corrupted him, staining his soul with an insatiable hunger for the flesh man. And from that day forward, Truck-Kun roamed the streets of Japan looking for his next victim, seeking out unsuspecting pedestrians to run down his grill, a grimace of pure evil. He relished in the final screams of his victims. Nobody was safe. As we now know, Truck-Kun became an unstoppable force of vehicular mayhem. Yet he was still a truck, incapable of human communication. It was difficult to understand him, his scars, the plight of his ordeals, and the memories he carried. But all of that would soon change. Now, the origins of Truck-Kun and his popularity has been feverishly debated by otaku researchers over the years. Many who have walked this bloody, burnt rubber road have landed on a similar conclusion. The 1982 classic, Magical Girl Princess, Minky Momo. This anime features Momo, a magical girl attempting to save her homeland of Narsa, a dwelling place of fairy tale characters. This world orbits Earth but is in danger of disappearing because the people of Earth are losing their hopes and dreams. So naturally, Momo is sent down to help. And then suddenly, in the 46th episode, Momo loses all of her magical powers and is run down by Truck-Kun. She dies and then is reincarnated on Earth as a baby. This event is often pointed to as the beginning of Truck-Kun's dominion over anime. And it was unexpected, horrific, and mostly metal as fuck. Now, the studio behind the show, Ashi Productions, actually had Truck-Kun kill Momo out of spite. The show's toy sponsor, Poppy, had pulled their funding of the anime due to poor merchandise sales, despite the show's excellent ratings. And in a furious act of rebellion, Ashi Productions had their main character run down by none other than Truck-Kun. And to add insult to injury, Truck-Kun was carrying a load of toys that fell down all around the hero's corpse. The message was clear: you killed our franchise. Fuck you. Now, this was 100% the moment that immortalized Truck-Kun as an antagonist that all anime characters should fear. It was a huge deal in Japan and cemented the show as one of the first examples that magical girl anime could be much darker on the inside than they appear to be. But those who told you that this was Truck-Kun's first massacre would be lying. Magical girl Minky Momo was not the first appearance of Truck-Kun. This year, Bonsai Pop University was going over some old DNA back in the cold case files when we realized that the origins of Truck-Kun's deceitful, deadly decisions go back all the way to 1952, just 7 years after the end of the Second World War. And from that DNA, we believe the first documented instinct of Truck-Kun's disgusting bloodlust can be found all the way back in the hollowed pages of one of the greatest manga of all time, Astro Boy. Yes, Astro Boy, the cornerstone of modern manga and anime. In the inaugural episode, we are introduced to young Aster, his futuristic hover car zipping down the so-called electronic Highway 66, which was a technological marvel, we are assured, and was, quote, as safe as man could make it, unquote. And the narrator describing this exceptional road of safety was unaware of a dark omen looming on the horizon. Without warning, a hulking truck materializes, hurtling toward Aster's vehicle on a collision course, and in that fateful moment, the legend of Truck-Kun we know today was forged as the monstrous machine plowed headlong into Aster's hovercar, reducing it to a twisted, smoking wreckage. This poor child's life was snuffed out in an instant. Not even the desperate efforts of emergency responders were able to save it. It was a brutal and merciless kill. In the wake of this unspeakable tragedy, Astor's grief-stricken father set about building a robot in his son's image. In later versions, this robot is literally an artificial recreation imbued with the boy's very DNA. You may even call it a crude and rudimentary form of reincarnation. But let's not gloss over the narrator's claims. This is the safest road man could make. Cars are driven by the road at the press of a button. There is zero reason for a truck to collide with a car, unless it was intentional. Truck-Kun intentionally struck Astor's car and purposely killed the child inside. The show ensures that you can see the line of destruction in Truck-Kun's wake. This was the first warning to all hapless anime protagonists. A villain is on the loose, and he is sharpening his skills in both murder and reincarnation. But this, my friends, is just the original. No one would expect the myriad of copycat killers that would follow in Truck-Kun's wake. As the years progressed past Magical Girl Princess Minky Momo, Truck-Kun would add more and more notches to his bumper. Captain Tsubasa, Excel Saga, Chance Pop Session, Nurse Witch Kogumi, Ajin, Akumetsu, Moshuku Tensei. Zombieland Saga would be one of his finest kills. But of course, there is dozens and dozens more. Whole compilations arose online chronicling the full extent of Truck-Kun's atrocities, a testament to his reign of vehicular terror, and it seemed the public's morbid fascination with this four-wheeled abomination would only progress over time. In the late 80s, a new wave of imitators began to emerge, each one vying to follow in Truck-Kun's tire tracks. The most notorious, perhaps, is Car-sama. Yes, indeed, the car who infamously dispatched Yusuke Urameshi. And as recently as 2012, we've seen the rise of Tractor-kun, a vehicular menace so devious it didn't even need to strike the boy in order to kill him. Clearly, the legend of Truck-Kun had captured the public's twisted imagination. Would-be protagonists across the anime universe lived in terror of his cold, unforgiving steel and/or plastic bumper. Yes, Word Keyboard researchers compiled a list of the cause of death for isekai protagonists. The results are damning. Traffic accident and traffic accident by truck are ranked second and third, only being beaten by a category labeled unknown, meaning it's unclear what killed said protagonist, but I think given the evidence, we may be able to figure that out. However, the truth is inescapable. Truck-Kun is a gatekeeper between this world and the next. A grim reaper of sorts, with ruthless efficiency. Yet one mystery still eluded me. When exactly did the sinister legend take form in the public consciousness? When did the name Truck-Kun first enter our vernacular? Well, believe it or not, many articles lead back to a Reddit thread. A Reddit thread known as Trucks in Manga. Marina. This is the oldest Reddit post available that discusses trucks in anime and manga. It dates back to 2015. Is this when Truck-Kun got his name? All the sources I could find seem to think so. However, I couldn't shake this feeling of doubt. If the murderous truck went all the way back to Astro Boy, how could this possibly be the first time he was given a name? So of course I couldn't accept it as truth. I scoured the internet, searched hoping against hope to find a clue. A sign of the turn Truck-Kun before 2015. But somehow it seemed like every shard of hope led to a dead end. Another Reddit thread naming Truck-Kun was posted only a month after the original. I tried using the Wayback Machine to no avail. Even an obscure post in Japanese claiming to have the entire origin of Truck-Kun only went back to 2015. In one last-ditch effort, I decided to go back to that original Reddit post and scroll through the comments, something I generally recommend not doing. That's when I noticed something peculiar. 2 commenters used the term Truck-Kun in their comments. If this post is supposedly the originator of the Truck-Kun name, it's very unlikely that multiple people would come up with it at the same time.
Coincidence? I think not!
That's when I had an idea. Just because you can't find a post naming Truck-Kun prior to 2015 doesn't mean I can't prove people weren't searching for Truck-Kun before 2015. So as a last-ditch effort, I put Google Trends into my search bar. With bated breath, I entered his name. And this is what was shown. Truck-Kun's popularity predominantly rose after 2015, but there's a couple spikes in 2014 and 2013. However, the biggest spike of all is all the way back in October 2006. I'd found a definitive proof that Truck-Kun's name existed before 2015. So with renewed vigor, like a bloodhound finally catching the scent, I began frantically searching for what anime aired in October 2006. There had to be something there, a major anime with a Truck-Kun sighting, something that could have set off this initial burst, and that's when I found a Truck-Kun appearance almost all of us have seen. One that had completely fallen out of my mind until now. You see, in October 2006, Death Note premiered in Japan. In the very first episode, Light Yagami sees a girl getting molested outside a convenience store, and he uses the Death Note, and the attacker is run over by a monstrous truck. Truck-Kun was an accomplice in one of Light Yagami's very first kills. Now, I cannot prove that this specifically caused the explosion of search. Unfortunately, I cannot find specific posts from that time. Because I can't find specific posts, obviously this is all speculation. But Death Note's very first episode may have been the catalyst to the original discussions of Truck-Kun on the internet. The dates do match between that massive spike and the launch of that first episode. We have this one golden spike of evidence in a very famous corresponding television show that released at that time. But we do know that that one spike has snowballed into a discussion that has continued to modern day, a time and place where Truck-Kun rules the pages of Crunchyroll. And through murder and mayhem, the truck has found his success. And in fact, due to the morally ambiguous nature of Death Note, Truck-Kun has kind of become a hero to some. Unlike the days of magical girl princess Minky Momo, Truck-Kun is no longer seen as a psychopath mowing down beloved little girls. Instead, he has become a harbinger of joy. Yes, the start of many a wondrous journey. And with this new popularity, this new understanding, he's found a new meaning in life. Yes, his bloodshed now had new purpose. He was no longer just expected, but hoped for. His kills were no longer just about carnage, but instead about creating change and purpose for those who had lost their way. For the businessman working himself to death. For the NEET who needs to leave his home. These people were silently calling out for help, people who desperately needed a change that Truck-Kun could give them. Yes, he gave them a newfound purpose, and in return, he was given a renewed purpose as well. Truck-Kun had a name, and now he has a place in society. Today, Truck-Kun is a household name, not just amongst otakus, but fans of anime from all walks of life. His popularity has risen so high, he's finally becoming the main character in his own stories. There's Isekai Tensei Truck, a one-shot about the hardships of an isekai truck driver. There is That Time I Got Isekai'd to Another World with My Truck. This is the story of a Japanese delivery driver who gets hit by an even bigger truck, is transported to another world with his now sentient truck. There's even Isekai Tensei Cup Limited. This is a manga about a company that safely guides people into another life via truck splatter. Truck-Kun's legacy has expanded beyond the role of a mere antagonist. His origins as a lowly plot device in the early days of Astro Boy have blossomed into a cultural phenomenon that forever altered the course of anime and manga. From shattering the magical girl dreams of Minky Momo to catalyzing the murderous reign of Light Yagami in Death Note, this single personified vehicle has left a monumental mark upon the medium, his very name synonymous with the most pivotal and lethal moments in anime history. Without Truck-Kun, who's to say if the genre of isekai would have ever progressed to the heights it has reached today? The truck's insatiable appetite for destruction, its complete regard for the lives of protagonists far and wide, has birthed some of the most beloved and enduring stories in all of Japanese pop culture. He is the unsung hero villain who gives us many a story to remember, some people's stories to oddly fap to. No longer just a four-wheeled Shinigami, Truck-Kun has become the guide of the river Styx. Perhaps in the future, if I see a truck coming my way, I might step in the road to greet it. Who knows? But as the sun sets on another day, Truck-Kun stands tall, his opaque windows gleaming with the fading light. This eternal harbinger of doom and joy, forever poised to ferry the next hapless protagonist from one world to another. This is far more than another trope to be subverted. He's the very lifeblood of anime's progress and a shit ton of money for studios. Yes, the mover and shaker of those who would have never changed themselves. The driving force that has propelled the medium to unprecedented heights of creativity and innovation. So I'd like to say thank you, Truck-Kun. And thank you, viewer, for watching.